McDonald's. Have you heard it's not good for you? It really is not. This one is big, and I'm completely shocked by this story because everyone's heard about the pink slime with McDonald's, and we're gonna get into that in just a second. But just this past week, McDonald's finally announced that they're changing their burger recipe for the first time because Jamie Oliver, a celebrity chef, has been exposing them for doing this horrific process with their meat where they take the awful scraps that's left after you've taken everything good off the cow, and then you spray it with ammonia. And there are some horrific videos about this, but we're just gonna show you a slightly cleaner one because I don't want you to puke on your computer. Here we go.
The key ingredient to the process is ammonia. We're going to wash these lean bits of beef that we've spun around there in a water and ammonia solution. And that kills the E. coli and salmonella and any kind of pathogens. So basically, we're taking a product that would be sold at the cheapest form for dogs.
Okay, so you guys are on YouTube right now. I don't want you to click away, but you can check out some other videos that are much more graphic than that. But basically, they're taking stuff that is not fit for human consumption. They are spraying it with a chemical that can do all kinds of horrific things to you. Then they're pumping it full of all kinds of other stuff and food dye, all this. We all know all this stuff. And now they're finally changing their recipe because of Jamie, yet the media completely just did not pick this up, which I think is quite bizarre. So my first question is, are we just destined to eat this crap no matter what? Because I almost didn't do this story because I think everyone knows how bad McDonald's is. And even if you show them that crap and spraying it with chemicals and that you're getting the worst cuts of, people are still gonna go. Do we just want to destroy ourselves?
I can't even believe that people were referring to the original burger as a recipe. It's more of a formula than anything else. I mean, it's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. So I'm super psyched. I think that what Jamie has done and has been doing for a long time is awesome. And this is sort of like, I mean, I think that he should consider it a crowning achievement. You know, I mean, that ammonia stuff is so gross.
Yeah, it's really, they
Literally,
are killing.
It's there to disinfect the meat.
It is there to disinfect the meat, you know, to get rid of E. coli and things like that. But I have to imagine it's also stripping it of whatever minor nutrients might be left in the meat. Is there anything? I feel like you've got something here. You're ready.
You know, coming from a scientific perspective, I think that first and foremost, I understand the gut reaction, and I'm not saying that I disagree with it because I don't want to eat that. I for sure don't want to eat that. So I'm going to come out and say that right now.
Okay.
But I would like to see the science about whether or not the ammonia is harmful to individuals, about whether or not the ammonia is rinsed away, whatever. I think that in this particular case, the reason they do it, now they're using horrifically low quality beef.
Yeah.
But that's how you get a hamburger for like 80 cents, right? So
Right.
The issue is, yes, they have to ensure that their customers don't get sick when they eat this. Now we're talking about sick in the short term from infection. We're not talking about aggregate sickness from eating low quality food that's nutritionally barren and not getting the right calories. So I think that this is less an issue about McDonald's and the profit motive and corporate America and blah, 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 and it's more an issue about poverty in this country. I think the real issue here is that people who live in very, very low income neighborhoods don't have access to healthy, clean food, and they're left with only, a handful of options, which is eating basically McDonald's dog food on a bun. And yeah, I think it's easy for us in like the fucking top 5% or whatever to sit around and say like, oh, we Angelinos would never want to sit around, and there's hardly any even fast food restaurants in Los Angeles. We're very lucky in that respect. But go to certain neighborhoods, even here, go to South Central, go to Compton, and see what kinds of food choices people have available to them. That's the problem, and that's what we should be trying to solve.
I somewhat agree, but I also think that like where there's a supermarket, there are healthy options, and it's a matter of education. I've been hanging out recently with Adrian Grenier, who has a company called Shift, and he actually just released a new app called Food Tripping, which helps anybody anywhere in the world find local, organic, sustainable, healthy food options, no matter where you are.
And that's helpful. That's helpful. But I would venture to guess that the number of little pins on this app are significantly higher in rich neighborhoods.
Right.
I also think that when you're talking about a single mother who's working 3 jobs and doesn't have time to go to the supermarket and buy fresh ingredients and go home and cook a nice meal for her family, she has 5 minutes to figure out how to feed her family on a budget of like $3 a person. What do you do but get a big bucket of chicken from KFC?
Right.
I mean, the whole system in this country is, I don't want to say designed because that makes it sound like there's some sort of vast conspiracy, but over time has been manipulated in such a way to keep impoverished people in a position where they can't grow out of that poverty. And I think a big part of doing that is being able to eat well,
Right.
and being able to think clearly when you go to school, when you go to work. I mean, there's such a link there.
Yeah, and then those poor people, of course, have either no health care or worse health care, and they're getting sicker, and then they're getting less medical help or no medical help sometimes.
Some people don't even realize that like fruit juice is unhealthy, and stuff like that.
For sure, a lot of it comes down to education as well.
Yeah.
And these are all kind of correlating variables when you go to low-income areas. That's the sad thing, is that the school systems are bad. The individuals don't have appropriate education available to them. They don't have proper nutrition available to them, and it's just a kind of spiraling problem.
We have all known about this pink slime thing, and because they just announced that they switched the recipe, but apparently they did it a few months ago. But we've all known about this, and I'm sure that, well, I can't swear that we're all going to go back to McDonald's, but at some point you might be somewhere on the road and have to stop somewhere. So we know, like even now, we were talking about this earlier, but In-N-Out Burger here in California, it's not cows eating other cows and all that kind of stuff.
It's real
but it's cheap, but it's just as cheap as McDonald's, and yet for some reason people
That's
still
true.
go to McDonald's. So I don't know that it's always about the choices. People want to destroy themselves in a weird way, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're educated enough in Los Angeles to know that In-N-Out is relatively natural in comparison to McDonald's, and that's why a lot of people choose In-N-Out. And even when you're at the In-N-Out drive-thru, you can then make the choice whether or not you're going to have your burger protein style or with the white bleached and rich flour bun. So like, I don't know.
Please.
Yeah, he was very proud to tell me he goes protein style. By the way, wait, I want to show you guys a picture of the pink slime in case you haven't seen the pink slime. I mean, think about that. Really just try to get that in your brain and go 13% of my McDonald's burger until they just change this recipe or formula, as you aptly called it, is that.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly can't remember the last time that I ate at McDonald's, and I think that there's some other great things about In-N-Out. I can't sing their praises enough, and I know that they have like Bible verses on their bags or whatever, which is kind of annoying.
That's weird.
I know,
Why do they do that?
it's annoying. But they
But
have,
you just can't win as an atheist. You finally
You
find a
really
burger.
can't.
You finally find a burger that you like, and they're
I
going.
like their worker treatment there too.
Yeah.
It's not just about higher quality food. They offer their employees full benefits. They offer them the starting wage is higher than the statewide minimum wage. They even have great programs for their workers, like they can leave their uniforms at work and they'll be laundered for them, so they don't have to take that fast food smell home with them. So they're not kind of walking around.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, I think, kind of forward looking company. And so yes, I guess I kind of do retract my earlier statement about this isn't really about corporate America and about profit motive and things like that, because it would be interesting to kind of compare the business model of McDonald's and In-N-Out. Again, we're talking though about a multinational corporation versus something that's kind of just only on the West Coast. No.
You know what? You know you're having a good conversation when one of the panelists retracts an earlier statement. That means something was happening here, that we were actually having a conversation.